Hello everyone, and welcome to Dragon Riders, episode number 7. It is still hot, so there may be people with fans on. I may be one of them. You have to live with that. I'm not even going to bother trying to do a proper intro today. Hello everyone, I'm Sheepdog, this is The Wandering Inn. It's time to Dragon Riders. If you enjoy The Wandering Inn... Tash, did you write that script from...
If you enjoy The Wandering Inn, you can check out the Patreon to support it, which currently all the Patreon goes to paying the cast members that you see here today, and currently we are a little behind on Mage, but it is going to be starting...
This Monday.
This Monday. And the Patreon pay also goes to that.
Yes.
There are exclusive perks, like at the end of this season of Dragon, you will get the rule set for Dragon. So if you want to check that out, do it. Check out all the wonderful people on the screen because we're cool. And we're going to be going to a tar pit today in Dragon
Each
Riders.
episode.
Beach.
Anime.
Surprise intro from Tash. Okay.
I so almost downloaded this anime-esque beach episode music that I found, and I couldn't bring myself to play it during Dragon Riders, but I almost did. So,
Nearly.
yes, and thank you, Tash.
You're welcome.
Are you
Sheepy.
available to do intros every week and on Mondays as well?
If I'm on a show, yes.
Okay. News announcements. Wandering Inn will now be featuring Tash in every single episode of every show.
Oh no.
Permanent cast member.
For this.
You can never leave.
Stress?
Yeah,
Fine. You'll do good. I'll give you some notes.
it's fine.
Live-
You've got lots of free time,
Pre-record.
right?
Yeah.
Pre-record. Yeah, you could pre-record it and then just have a button that you press where Tash does the spiel.
I will
Yeah.
happily do that for you, yeah.
That's interesting, and I'm tempted.
Here's the running intro. Here's the other running intro, and it's all Tash, and I don't have to say anything now for the next 5 minutes.
I really should just get my act together and actually write a kind of intro spiel and just do that, but I haven't because... So,
Previously.
well, no, before we do previously,
Okay.
this is the penultimate episode of Dragon Riders, something we said last week. However, the cast all said that they were able to do another episode, not next Friday, but the Friday after, which I believe is either the 12th or the 15th, if my brain...
It is the 12th.
It is the 12th of August. We will be doing the finale for Dragon Riders on that date. It is still a Friday. It is still at the same time. And it is confusing enough that I'm sure some people will think that this is the finale and will miss, but we've told you. It's your fault if you miss now. Plus, it'll be on YouTube, you know, you can find it there. Previously, thank you. Last episode on Dragon Riders, I know there was a giant, which I kept calling a dragon.
Wasn't it a troll?
It was a giant.
It was a giant.
Oh, okay, that's my bad. I'm not trying to make it worse.
That's just evil, Katie. It's like,
We sent the
Sorry.
little girl off with, I would say Illyria, but that's not her name, is it?
it is Illyria, yeah.
Illyria, yeah.
Illyria.
Illyria and Illyrium.
Yeah.
Dragon.
The most inventive dragon rider and dragon name. Well, she named her dragon. It's not my fault. Yes, you sent it off with Illyria, and she sent her off with Illyria. She took the girl back, and you carried on because you were told by Jerix, the rider of the yellow
Ungran.
Lungron, Rattore, that there was a giant on the loose, headed down from the mountains, down a mountain path off towards kind of open land and where a lot of civilization is and villages and things like that. Because of the nature of dragons, why do dragons sound like giants? I don't understand. I should have picked anything else. Maybe I should have picked a troll, Katie. You're right.
We're in this together.
It would have been so much easier. However, as they were headed on the way there were a few interesting interactions with Jerix, where Ultra and Ardor and I think Rithera and even Cassandra and Argent had some disagreements or terse conversations with Jerix and his dragon. He did offer to help if needed, which led to an interesting conversation which left Perry pretty much the only one who was even slightly willing to accept any help, I believe.
Yeah.
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 However, the pod did eventually reach the giant, who was dealt with not necessarily in a quick and easy manner, but in a pretty easy manner once the pod got a handle on things. There was the wall of fire in the mist. There was some very cool modifying of the ground, which caused the giant to eventually fall over when Rithera chained him. Chain axe. Although, yeah. And finally, Ultra and Ardor swept in heroically and blew the giant's head off with a lance of fire. Which, not 100% sure how well they've processed that yet, but I'm sure that's something that we will, yeah. So, we are going to move forward a little bit from all of that, as we are now outside the town city of Talion. Talion is near the Steel Spine range of mountains, which it's actually interesting. You'd probably know it, Rithera, just because it's reasonably close to Peak.
Okay.
So possibly you've either been there or would have heard of it. The only other person who's nearby in that sense would probably be Perry. It's reasonably close to Lowhold, a bit further south down the Steel Spine. And it has one unique feature, which is that there is a big open area with tar pits. This is a place that has it's almost like a tourist location for dragon riders in a weird way. For dragons, the tar pit is like a nice cleansing what's the best way? It's like a dip in a hot tub, essentially. So you have these big kind of open pools of like bubbling tar around the area. There's a few trees, there's like roads going past them, and occasionally people going past them as well. For the most part, they're avoided by the general populace because quite often they're visited by dragon riders and their dragons. And even though everyone knows that the dragon riders are there to protect you doesn't change the fact that giant lizards with wings that can breathe fire are a little bit scary. Iliagar and Avenda have come to meet you here. Essentially, once you got back, they suggested a little bit of a celebration was in need for your first successful patrol as a pod together. And Iliagar brought you here with a vendor, and I think as we see all four of the dragons kind of on the edge of the tar pits, with a vendor like a little bit further back and just to the side, probably, you know, like how dogs are at the edge of swimming pools. They're like, I want to be in there, but also worried. I imagine that's a little bit of the vibe from the dragons. And Iliagar says to the riders, to the four riders, says, why don't you go over to that tree, sit in the shade for a while, and let them enjoy their time in the tar pit. I will go and get us some food, my treat, and I'll be back in a moment.
Thank you. Yes, we'll do that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Iliagar moves off, like walks off, kind of down towards town. Town is like 5 minutes or so. And as the four riders go off and sit down, and there's probably a little bit of tense silence for a moment, we're going to shift back to the dragons with a vendor.
Should I go first?
I can go first.
Without hesitation, while you two are figuring it out, Ardor's in.
Oh no.
Like cannonball style. Jumps right in.
Yeah, I was like dipping my front wing claw in a little bit to be like, I can definitely go first. But god damn it. There's like sluice in now. It's like, it's fine. I'm just definitely first though.
That's the second time Ardor has gone before you in Cinzia.
It will be the last time. If I have to nip his legs.
Marmalade, Ardor, come on in. It's great in here. You see Tourmaline on the edge, just kind of lazy sitting, watching everybody figuring out what they're doing, and then kind of evaluating like, do I want to go in? And so stands up very slowly and just starts like waddling into the water.
Ooh, it's warm.
I haven't quite figured out how to swim in this because everyone else is walking and I'm like, I don't know how to do this.
The horizontal nature of Incendia means that you do kind of have to like angle a little bit. But as you go in, it's not quite the same as like quicksand, you know. It doesn't suck you down. It just kind of like slowly gloops over you a little bit. It's not viscous. It's like water with a little extra weight to it.
But I don't swim.
Tar pit,
No.
light.
Yeah.
Asterisk.
Yeah.
Not the ones where you end up finding, fossils years
No.
later because they sunk down to the bottom of it.
And they aren't massively deep. They're not like a bottomless pit. Even in Cinzia, maybe if you go in your tippy claws, you can, touch the bottom.
Yeah, I'm literally just trying to figure out how to do this. Flapping around, like making a bit of a mess, probably.
Oh, sorry. I don't want to.
I was just saying, I think Argent isn't going to go in.
Oh.
Wants to curl near and around it, but water is so much better than icky, sticky tar.
So
I'm aquatic. So why would I want to go in tar? Water is great.
So if I'm fairly close to the edge, could I technically lay down if I put my head up? Like,
Because you're so big.
yeah. Like, could Tourmaline lay down in it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so just like gets right in and then not going very far swimming, just immediately lays down and splashes anybody who is on the shore with tarry water. The tarness, I guess. I don't know what to call it.
Hey,
It's so soothing. You should come in.
I like water better.
It's like water. It kind of gives you a hug.
It's nice and warm.
This is terrible.
It's great. I don't know what you're talking about in Cinzia. Don't be so negative.
you like Argent's tail slip in slightly and kind of feel around a bit and then pull it back out with like maybe a mild disgusted look.
I don't like that.
At the same time as you're all, kind of getting in or getting a little bit splashed. Prim and proper on the outside. Not gonna get in the tar pit. A vendor steps in and it kind of comes up to about his like lower chest, and then like crouches down and it goes up over his body, and then leans his head forward until the tar essentially is like cradling the bottom of his chin, and then goes down to until he's got the nostrils at the top of his mouth are just about enveloped by it, and then there's this kind of like little pause, and then slowly a bubble starts to rise from the tar and just lifts into the air for about 5 seconds, and then pops, and this kind of like small kind of concentrated circle of smoke just gets picked up by the wind and drifts off.
I'm immediately trying to do that.
Doable.
Probably smaller and not as neat.
It probably starts off just like kind of, irritated bubbles, just like, like someone blowing in their milkshake.
The dog like putting their head underwater and like.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
I wonder what would happen if I ate it.
You should try.
Would I get any?
I'm sure it's fine.
It would not be toxic, but maybe unpleasant. But like, can I absorb tar? Tar is not living. I do not believe it works like that.
Try it.
I stick my head out of the water or out of the tar, and there's just like tar all over my face and dripping out of my mouth.
It doesn't taste weird.
I'm gonna try it and see if anything happens. I'm just gonna take a mouthful of tar.
Yeah. It's warm, and it's tar. It's not. Yeah, it's not really living, so not much happens. it doesn't provide really any nutrition or thing, but it also doesn't hurt to swallow or to even drink or eat, depending on.
It didn't do anything. I don't feel any changes.
I suspected as much.
And like shoot some very mild glare at Incensia.
Maybe you should eat more.
No,
Why?
you may get a stomach ache.
Yeah, it didn't
Yes.
taste great. So I don't.
It's not
Thanks.
food, Ardor. Food is on the way. I think. Unless that was only for our riders.
That's not fair.
I did not say it was certain.
At this point, I feel like I've either got it or I'm at the side and I'm sort of holding onto the side, like it's fine. I'm
You're
definitely
the
in this
kid
outfit.
that can swim but doesn't want to and just wants to like have an arm up on the pool side. So there's little effort, that side of kind of look.
No, it's fully like
Like-
so I've got the front claws like on the edge, holding me above the
Oh.
water because I can't. I only have back legs.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm definitely not gonna drown.
Kind of like a bat, just like
Yeah.
clinging
You got it,
to the
yeah.
side of
But it's fine. This is what I want to do.
Tourmaline's jumping around now, just kind of splashing anyone who is near her.
And Arjun maybe slithers a little bit to another side to avoid some of the splashes.
And seeing the like more playful side of Ardor, like or of Tourmaline, Ardor is gonna like start kind of maybe like almost rolling onto back and like kind of kicking a little bit and like just starting to become a little bit more playful and like maybe having a head or a wing splash towards you.
Yeah, I
Pull it
think
in.
that Tourmaline now is like doggy paddling, but in a very like aggressive manner, just like I've never done this before. So it's just like legs coming up, like slapping into the water and like going
Puppy's
towards
first swim.
Ardor. Yeah, it's puppy's first swim and just kind of like this is fun, and so splashing you, but not intending to. So I don't know if that starts a splash fight or not, but
I think that Ardor is like, oh, you're clearly you're being playful and splashing me, and I'm thinking it's intentional, and so I'm gonna start maybe being a little bit more aggressive, like, hey,
I'm just gonna start swimming circles around you and just splashing you because of how I'm swimming.
oh,
I don't, even though Ardor is almost as big as Tourmaline, I just see that image of the big dog who doesn't notice the little dog like jumping around it and yapping, and it's just kind of like plodding onwards. So after a little while, Avenda says,
How was your first patrol?
Great, we zoomed around and found out what was going on, and there was a giant.
And what was going on?
A mage was doing something or affected by something. It was hard to completely determine.
And did all of you help and participate in the investigation?
Yes, I was on the roof with the creepy human.
And what were you doing on the roof?
We were sneaking, we were looking to see what was in this weird room. It was good. Guard, yes, that's guarding. And we ran a patrol. Twice.
There is a good mix of keeping watch and direct investigation. Everyone had their part to play.
That is all right for now. But as time goes and you grow with your rider, you will want to help them as much as you can. Try to take an interest in the more thoughtful aspects of being dragons for your riders.
I thought to flame from the mist. That was helpful.
Did you come up with any theories as to why the giant may have been migrating? Or why that girl was the only thing left in the village?
Probably food for the first one.
Avenda's head like comes up and swings around to stare at you, like kind of batting on the side of the tar pit, and just this like complete 45-degree head cock goes at you in this kind of like, really?
I mean, it's probably food, right?
We were
I
not
was-
given more time to investigate the village. We were given new orders.
So there was a corruption detected by Tourmaline that we were able to determine.
Yes, it came from the cabin.
Not necessarily the mage girl, but potentially the initial casting. We were unsure. We sent the mage off with Hilarium, and then we did indeed have to leave fairly quickly to handle the giant.
All I'm saying is that I have been in a partnership with Iliogar for many decades. And it is important to learn to see what is needed of you to help and to really be in a partnership with your rider. It's just as well to be able to fight and protect, but sometimes you must be able to think and to provide additional insight and perspective. Otherwise, how can you be equal?
The like in Cynthia's brow is furrowed. I'm like, this is hurting my brain. Yes. What did that word mean? Theorize? Still stuck on that.
That is wise. I will make note of that.
To give you an idea of what I mean, in Cinzia, Rithera is fast and strong and a warrior. What do you bring to your partnership with her?
I am far faster and stronger, and I'm stealthy, and I have my mist, and I can fly.
So if you're better than Rithera in all the things that Rithera does, what is the need for Rithera?
It's a very good question.
Argent,
Yes.
what do you bring to your partnership with Cassandra?
I help her with her learning, her research. We are going to write a book together and collaborate.
If you only help, you are merely an assistant. You must be able to think of things on your own and pursue objectives on your own as well, and not just follow Cassandra's lead.
Yes. She wants me to, well,
Holds up claws.
I need her to be able to write easily. But I have ideas.
Good.
Good. Argent smiles.
Ardor,
Yes.
you're doing okay.
Continues to just kind of like roll and slash around. No, just relaxed, I think.
However, do consider what I said.
Which part?
The entirety of you, or I hope.
Okay.
The best example of a proper and complete partnership between Rider and Dragon would be that of Perry and Tourmaline, as things currently stand.
This isn't a competition.
This is not a competition, of course. However, Tourmaline is sensible and slow and patient, which very nicely offsets the nervous energy of Perry that allows him to think, to create, and to react on the spot.
Tourmaline's just sitting there kind of glancing at everyone.
Well done.
So you want me to not be a warrior?
Incensia, may I ask you a question?
That's a question.
I would like to ask you too.
Yes.
Do you not care about Rithera?
She's fine.
Do you not love her?
What's that?
With Perry, he is my person. And I care deeply for him and what happens to him. Even though he has his moments, his well-being is most important to me.
Well, yes, she's my person.
But she may be your person, but there's something more to it than just an association.
Well, she's mine, so.
How does Rithera make you feel?
She's competent. At times.
Perhaps Incensia, You should investigate that more. She raised you from when you were little.
Well, yes, but I did a lot. And she stopped me from being squished one time, maybe.
She hunted for you. She fed you when you were unable to do anything but crawl around on the floor.
And I carry her around. And we work together.
Together.
Quite effectively.
Perhaps you should look at it as a team. You and Rithera are teammates. But it could be more than that. And it probably is. You seem so distant from her, even though she has been there for you since you were young. Think of the power you could have if you let yourself feel that.
Feel... what? Love? How
Perhaps
does that help?
a bond, even. Perhaps love is not where you are at yet, but notice it's like a warmth in your chest.
Oh, like when I flame. Right.
No, it's different.
No.
That's like a burning. This feels different. It's like a tingle. One that doesn't result in a burst of flame, but one that results in a sense of calm and contentedness.
I don't know what that is.
I hope one day you will.
Incensio.
Avenda.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes?
You are faced by an insurmountable enemy. You can
Nothing's
fly
insurmountable.
away. With Erica not. Do you leave her?
No.
That is
No,
love.
don't. You say so.
And to answer your previous question, you are strong. And you can fight. But there is no reason that should stop you from improving in other areas. As there are many points in which you are weak.
Like what?
Like, for example, investigative, logical, and intellectual endeavors. Plus,
And Avenda stands up to give you an idea of the difference in size. Avenda is about double the size of Ardor or Tourmaline, so about triple the size of you.
there is always something bigger and more powerful than you.
But I'm faster.
You can run away quicker. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Incenzia, I have noticed the way Rithera cares for you. Perhaps you should pay attention to that. You can run away from many things, but sometimes you shouldn't run away from the things that are most important.
I'll think about it.
Tourmaline goes back to blowing bubbles underneath the surface.
Like, wait a minute. All these times when she's like being a badass, that was pretty cool. Like, maybe I did get warm fuzzies and I didn't realize.
A vendor also settles back down into the tar and just kind of goes back to kind of lying down there and chilling. And a vendor actually goes quiet at this point. You probably take from that he's said as much as he particularly wants to or needs to say.
That was good teamwork at the giant fight, though.
Everyone was quite impressive.
Apart from some people who flew above the battle.
Are you referring to me, Incinzia?
Was that you?
Did you notice the heat on the flame?
When I flamed, yes.
No. You know what I mean, I think. I was there supporting you. Enhancing. Sometimes it is good to get a better perspective. I would not have been able to see in your mist.
That's true. It was very thick.
It was. Flying above meant that I could help augment and keep a better perspective. I think things like this are what a vendor was speaking of.
Good job on the heat.
I was not fishing for compliments. More noting that you did a great job too.
I know.
We worked well together.
Yes.
I think that's what it means to be a pod, is that we have to work together. And I think that you both did a great job.
You two did too. Took the brunt of many things.
At the end there, Ardor, did you know that was going to happen?
No.
That was
You didn't
impressive
even
though.
try?
It was impressive, but kind of, I don't know, scary is not the right word. Unexpected. I didn't really know I had that in me.
How did you do it? Can you do it again? Do it now.
I don't know.
Well,
Tar is flammable. That may be unwise.
she
Well,
can
we're
get out.
immune to fire. We would be okay.
But then the tar would burn away.
And like takes a glance at a vendor enjoying the tar.
Well, Ardor can get out. Practice over there.
That may
Does
also be
Ardor want to practice?
Not right now.
also without a rider for extra control. That may also be unwise.
I am worried. What if I can't do it again when I need to?
Then practice to mean you can.
I'm sure
You've
Ultra
already-
would be helpful.
Well, you've already done it once. I believe that makes you capable many more times.
I hope so.
Argent's tail kind of swishes back into the tar, just test it again, and another look of disgust, and pulls the tail back out.
Mm. And I think while we leave our dragons, having a little play in the tar, or a bit more of a lounge on the edge, or literally bat hanging on the side, the camera will shift away and over to the 4 riders, who are sitting under a large tree, a fair ways away from the tar pits, closer to this kind of dirt road that travels through the area, in the shade, as there's probably been a fairly tense silence for a little while, or just very light conversation. As unless anyone particularly is going to start up the conversation, that's actually a good question, because it'll take a little bit of time for Iliagar to turn back up. Does anyone take the initiative and broach anything serious?
I think Perry's probably leaned up against the tree, trying to or pretending to nap.
Yeah.
I'm pointedly, like, not looking at Perry.
Yeah.
Ulcha's zoning out because of her own issues with being said that she's in a cult. And so now she's just like sitting there, like staring at the dragons, like playing in the tar and like watching them from a distance, but just glazed over.
In her own head, probably compartmentalizing things and figuring out how she feels, because there was also the whole, oh look, there's a giant. Oh no, there isn't.
Decapitation.
Explosive decapitation is I think.
Explosive decapitation.
Yummy.
That's
Yeah.
bleh.
Ruthera's probably having a hard time getting settled because she's so used to being the one to go like get things and do things that like not having something to do feels weird. So she's probably just like looking at all 3 of you, like looking around, watching the dragons, like just that not nervous energy, but that like unsettled, not knowing how to relax.
Every now and then I'll just like sigh and go,
In that case,
I was gonna, if I'm noticing the sighing, because I'm probably very much paying attention. Cassandra, do you have something you'd like to say?
no, not to you. It's maybe settled down, though you're making. Just sit. It's okay to sit.
You're, okay. You're not the leader of us anymore, but
No, it's just all that energy is quite a lot.
well, it's been a lot of a day. I mean, we successfully just took care of 2 missions in 1 day, which is fantastic and wonderful. But doesn't that mean we should keep going instead of resting and relaxing? Like,
It was exhausting.
it was, but I don't think our mission's done.
Well, we handed over the girl, and a giant was dealt with. So we should rest where we can rest.
And you
Teacher
feel,
did kind of say that. Spot to breathe.
you feel fine just handing the mage over with no answers? Not the concern of anything else that could potentially happen, what we saw?
We passed on all the information. I'm not sure if we're terribly equipped to do more.
Plus, we can follow up later. I don't know enough about mages currently, but we can do some more research and ask Iliagar when he comes back.
Are you worried, Ruthera?
Yes. I don't like not having the answer.
I don't know if
don't
they
like-
have it yet. They have to determine it. She was kind of mumbling and chanting the whole time. It wasn't exactly like we could get a whole lot out of that.
It's true, but something doesn't feel right or settled.
That is fair.
There's a crunching of grass, feet on gravel and then on grass as Iliagar returns, and he has a tray that has these really like big round very very slightly misshapen essentially like balls that are kind of blackened and yeah, essentially they look like someone has taken a balloon, dipped them in the tar pits, and then pulled them out. And he's got 5 of them on a big tray, and sets them down in front of you all. Takes one for himself and says, "Please, my treat."
What is it?
As Harry grabs one.
This is a food delicacy, perhaps, of Talion. And he picks up a like kind of carving knife type thing, and hands it handle first to you, Perry, and says, "Take a look inside."
Oh. He begins to like meticulously chip away, potentially finds a crack, and then wedges it open.
Oh, essentially you can carve it in half if you like.
Oh, okay. It's not okay. It's more soft. Got it.
Yeah. It is not caked and, you know.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was like a, you know,
fossilized.
coconut-esque in hardness. Okay, yeah. So he just, yeah, then he carves it right in half and, like, holds the knife out to whoever's nearest for them to take it as he's got this in half. And...
yeah. As you open it up, you see that inside is and it kind of like it's like steaming in the sense of, you know, like properly steaming hot. You have this kind of like golden rice, what looks like, and when you start eating you'll find out is actually carrot, diced onions, some melted cheese, tomatoes, wrapped around by what is quail around the outside. Essentially, how they cook this is they get a quail, stuff it with, you know, the rice and the all the other ingredients, and then cover it in this kind of leather type wrapping, and then dip it and cook it in the tar pits.
Yeah, that sounds great. I'll take one.
That sounds really good, actually.
Apologies.
Yeah, Perry probably starts digging in before waiting for the others to open up theirs.
Yeah. And Iliagar takes the knife and cuts his open, and there are forks and everything, so if you want to be monstrous and just literally jam your face in the middle of it, you can. Iliagar will be using a fork to essentially...
Yeah, and Perry would use a fork. He likes using tools.
Seeing the food and everything, Rithera would kind of probably settle down, knowing that she has like kind of a task and something ahead of her to just kind of focus on, and would cut it open and would use a fork.
Yeah.
Olcha hasn't acknowledged anything. She's just staring at the tar pit still.
I was gonna ask. Yeah.
I'm just gonna go after Rithera, like, and start very like got my knife and fork as well, and
Okay. After everyone else has taken theirs, and I don't know whether Ultra will hear this or not, but Iliago will look over and say in a reasonably loud voice, Ultra?
It is early for snow this time of year.
No. Ultra. Food.
Oh, and she awkwardly stands up and
Yeah.
kind of dusts off her pants. Thank you, and quickly takes a scan of everybody else. Be like, how did they do this? How did they get the thing open? What is this? What's happening? And just tries to study everybody quickly to make it less awkward that she was not paying attention to anything.
If I notice that, I'll try and make it obvious by like how I'm eating to like just kind of show you without showing you. To give you an example.
If I notice that Rithera's like over exaggerating something, that I would just be like, okay, and then I'm gonna grab everything, the fork, the foil type thing, and then sit down next to Rithera and just kind of start copying like the method to try to get it open and everything.
Like, cut it in half, got two halves.
Mm-hmm. Just like, this is what I meant to do. I meant to do it this way. Just start eating.
And maybe not super loud, but enough. Rithera would lean over to Alcha. Are you okay?
Yeah, just tired. Just a lot to think about.
What's on your mind?
And I'll glance over at the dragons. Just you know, everything. Nothing important.
If it's distracting you this much, wouldn't you think it's important?
And I will lower my tone. There's a lot of things that I'm thinking about. I just don't know, I don't know how to express them. Because I don't think anyone will understand.
You can always try. I know sometimes it's not always easy, but I think that everyone here tries to at least be a little bit understanding to what the other's going through. We all come from very different places. But I think that that's made us stronger.
Ever since I've come here, I was so excited. I was just in awe of everybody and everything. I'd occasionally get odd glances from people. You three have always been so kind to me, but just hearing so casually that I'm in a cult and that's what everybody seemingly thinks is a little bit jarring. Is that why everybody looked at me that way since I've been here?
The head thing might also. It's a little different. Again, our differences are not a bad thing, but maybe why does other people's opinions of you being in a cult or not being in a cult matter to you?
The connotation of being in a cult is not positive. The Cassorians, I've been told, are in a cult, but we're not a cult. The word doesn't have... Someone doesn't hear that word and go, oh, that's good.
But your beliefs and your family are important to you, are they not?
Yes, is what I believe so bad?
Why wouldn't anybody talk to me about it? Instead, they just quietly keep their heads down and just look at me weird. They don't even give me a chance to explain or understand where I come from.
I think just like we're trying not to judge others, maybe they don't want to judge you, but not understanding. How do you approach something you don't understand?
With questions. Perhaps I would do the same thing if I was in... Maybe I even do that to Jerix. I already have assumptions about him. He has assumptions about me. Maybe I understand it more, but it's awful to be on the receiving end of it. Perhaps... And this gets low. Harry was right.
Harry was right about what?
That perhaps we don't know what Jerix has been through and that we've treated him poorly from the get-go, without giving him a chance to show us who he is.
I don't. That's fair. But I don't think he's shown us much of a character of a person that seems to be wanting to approach or understand, just like you were saying. So you're protecting yourself in a way. We all are.
I'm not saying he has handled himself well at all, but I just went in from the beginning with this idea, this bias of no, nothing you can do can change how I view you. It got me thinking. I glance over at the dragons. I was born into the world that I was, and I didn't have a choice, and neither did they. This was chosen for us. It was chosen for them. In a way, we're all kind of chained to something. So I've just been thinking. No, you go ahead.
I was just, she gets very quiet, like very still, very quiet.
It's
probably
hard.
Noticeable.
Are you like uncomfortable, or is it like a...
No, it's like you're making me question my entire life and where I've come from as well.
Yeah.
You know?
Being away from where I come from, obviously it's been some time. I've had a chance to see things differently. But even so far after I've been away, I still feel like it's so much a part of who I am. And I have these thoughts that conflict with it and fight it and tell me that I'm maybe wrong about some of it, or maybe they're wrong about some of it, but then I feel this immense guilt that I shouldn't question those that brought me up. I just feel like I'm fighting with myself a lot of the time. And then looking at Ardor and wondering if she got a choice.
I think that, and how I think about it from my village is we're always learning from the people above us, but we get to a point that we are then the ones who become the teachers. We're the ones who are learning now, and we're the ones who are experiencing something differently. And it becomes a point that we're the ones that teach, and change is okay. And life is about learning and teaching and back and forth. It's never just always one person being the teacher.
Ardor has already taught me some things. They came back with me to my village, and unlike you all, he or she has seen where I grew up and experienced and got an impression that I did not expect. So now I'm just thinking about everything I've known for forever and what it means now. I don't really know what that means for my future or me. And it's scary.
It is scary.
I don't think you have to know.
And I'll
Yeah.
glance over at Perry. Do you not know who you are?
I don't know. I mean, kinda, yeah. But, like, we got a long time to figure that out.
Have you ever been so sure of who you are and where you come from, and then over this last year, it's just chip by chip, you make realizations, and then you doubt yourself, and then you go, no, this is right. And then Ardor, or your dragon tells you something, you go, oh, that's the impression they got. And then
Yeah.
you've had people tell you you're in a cult.
I mean, I had people tell me that everyone around me isn't family.
Who's said that to you?
Kinda, you guys? Sorta?
I
Not
will
directly.
Yeah, I will think back, and I'll probably realize conversations we've had that I'm like, oh, I wasn't as open as I should have been. It is unfair of me to have you all.
No. You just, it's different. It's okay. I gotta figure that out too. I can't assume everything is gonna be the same. Tourmaline's kind of showed me that I'm a bit eccentric. I'll use that word.
I think we're growing into new versions of ourselves, and I think that that's okay to question that and to learn from that. We're kind of becoming our own teachers.
I'm just trying to figure it out. Because I feel like everything I knew is not reality anymore. Maybe it never was.
Well, no. I think it was, but now you literally have a dragon bonded to you. That's gonna change things pretty dramatically.
Where I grew up, it was supposed to be you touch the sky, just like the owls do. But it's been so different because when I'm up there with Ardor, all that matters is Ardor, and I don't care about the owls as I'm supposed to.
I mean, different perspective, right? They view it as an ideal. That's not necessarily wrong, but they don't get to experience it like you do. You see things a little different now. That's okay.
I'm so used to dealing with these things on my own. It's scary to talk about it. I appreciate that your perspective makes it okay.
We're here for each other.
There's a rustle off to your side as Iliagar stands up and like takes a couple of paces off towards the dragons. Like essentially he has his back to you and is like observing the dragons, as it were. And you hear him say, There was a young and new rider who, after his first patrol, found himself enamored with his strength. A lot of that was to do with his upbringing. He was a Cassorian, and he had faced the trials, become a dragon rider, seen his dragon grow up, and once he realized how strong they were together and how strong he was as a result, he decided that, as can often happen with Cassorians and with anyone of a warrior mindset, that he should challenge himself and his dragon as much as he could. So he jumped into all of the challenges presented to him, regardless of how dangerous they were. Eventually, his whole pod was wiped out and his dragon was almost killed. Because he couldn't stop himself from acting according to his nature. After that happened, he swore in front of his dragon to never let that happen again. That he would change who he was and how he would be in the future. And he took out his own eye. And took on the name Agatia One Eye. Who we are now is not always who we are now. There's always a chance to decide to change, to want to change, or to even force yourself to change. One of the parts of being a dragon rider is the unfortunate and sudden realization that you are powerful enough to do whatever you want, and realizing that you need to restrict yourself a lot more than anyone else. You should keep talking. I will be back in a little bit. And he starts walking off.
But pulling out your eye seems a little extreme.
Maybe I should do that and I'd finally know who I am.
No, maybe
That's
maybe
not what I meant. No,
It's a joke. I was joking. I don't want to do that.
funny.
I'm glad to hear that. It'd be hard. I don't think I can make a good eye for you as a replacement. That'd be a lot of my skill set.
I do very much appreciate my peripheral vision.
It's probably pretty good when you're up in the sky flying around, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, what owls they kind of need that too.
Oh, I haven't done this in a while, and I'm gonna turn my head completely around to see if I can still do it.
Oh yeah.
The yelp from Perry for a second, like, oh god, I forgot you could do that.
Perhaps maybe what I need to do is coexist with who I was and who I'm becoming.
Different priorities, as well as perspective, I suppose. Like, Ardor is your first priority now, I should hope.
Yes.
And that will replace the owls?
Augment, perhaps, more than replace. I don't think you have to get rid of it.
No, but it changes the priority order. Perry.
Has Cassandra shared much about herself?
There's like tidbits where you're like, clearly she's been on her own, like the stuff with Perry with the like, if we can't do it ourselves then we are worthless, like
Comments
not,
probably
yeah.
we've heard.
And it's just like, well, obviously, like, this is just normal.
Does your mom write you or anything? Or do you ever hear from her?
Nope.
I don't hear back.
So I see you writing and that you don't hear back. Because I imagine I probably kept it. I can't remember her name and I feel so bad. The older woman from my village. I have it written down somewhere.
I also have it written down.
Let me let's see if I got it in my notepad. Silka.
Silka.
Yeah. So sorry, that was a sidetrack. I think I'm gonna just turn my head a little bit and ask Cassandra. Have you ever heard back from your mom?
My mother is very busy. So you know, I'm sure that I will hear when I need to.
Is it traditional to not write as many letters where you come from?
Well, no, it's good to keep up to date. She's very busy. She's a lot to manage. Because I'm just like clearly very uncomfortable. Like, oh, that's...
I definitely notice that you're starting to get uncomfortable, and I'm like debating in my brain, like, do I keep pushing or is this something I shouldn't? But I feel like we've been together now, what, like a year?
Yeah. So.
I write Elder Silka, and she gets back to me very quickly.
Glad, yeah.
When we first got here, I noticed you had chocolate cake. I've never had chocolate cake before, and maybe someday I will, but did your mom pack you chocolate cake?
No, that was my lovely footman who he's written to me, which was nice. And you know, told me a little about what's going on at home. The cake was nice. Yes, is that the question?
If you want a little bit extra, Cassandra, your elder brother has received, been lauded by the community for his recent work in magical theory.
Of course he has. Of course he has. And does he have a name? Let's make one up. And Garrett, my of course, is doing as expected, which is brilliantly, and yes, I keep Mother apprised of how things are progressing.
Perhaps it's me feeling more vulnerable and I'm being more blunt than I should be, but I feel that this bothers you. Is your mother not proud of all that you've accomplished? Because you've accomplished a lot.
Comparatively, I have not. Nor accomplished what is expected of of me, of any Linden.
What's expected?
Excellence at all times, in all things.
But that's
Isn't that literally what you're doing as a dragon rider?
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Like, none of them are dragon riders. And you were, what, one of 44 out of 1,000?
Well, you would think so, but apparently not. So perhaps when I can tell her about our successful mission, and perhaps I will hear back this time.
She doesn't sound like a mother.
She's the only mother I've had, so she's
Right. But
She just sounds like she's in a position of being a mother, but isn't a mother.
there's no nurturing.
Even if you're related by blood, it doesn't make you family sometimes.
well. I mean, it's pushed me to work hard at all I do, and gotten me to the point of being a dragon rider, and obviously you.
You did that.
Well,
Ray's right. Those are all your accomplishments.
I wouldn't have had these things in place if I hadn't learned them growing.
If you hadn't learned them, yeah.
Because I'm just like, like no. Well, but she hired the masters that would train me, and obviously, provided for my travel, and
Anyone can hire somebody.
but not anyone does.
But they can.
I'm just saying that's a capability thing. That's nothing to do with a parent thing. You said you liked that footman. He was nice. He actually seemed to care about you, yeah?
Perhaps.
He made you chocolate cake.
Well, I think he got it from the kitchens.
Okay, but he went and got it for you specifically. You didn't have to do that.
What's his name?
I definitely did give him a name, and I don't remember what it is. Oh.
Is it Gregory?
I think it was actually.
Yeah, we'll call it Gregory.
Well done, Brain.
Yes, but it's just a chocolate cake.
Yeah, pretty happy, right?
Yes,
And
I was.
it's the effort behind going and doing that and thinking of that.
Is chocolate cake your favorite?
Sometimes.
It's a bit of home in a big transition.
So,
We had to make you a pillow.
Well, yes, but it's my pillow now, and I'm quite proud that we made it together.
I will just say for a second here, seeing as we are on Cassandra's family, and I think that possibly the only person who'd know anything about this would be Perry. Rithera and Ultra. Ultra definitely wouldn't know anything about this. Rithera, it would depend how connected Peak is to the kind of area around here. I would imagine not a whole load.
No, I think they're pretty secluded.
Okay. All of you do, however, know of the Empire. It literally spanned the entirety of the continent of Lys. The Emperor obviously was overthrown. However, a lot of the families who were nobility and sometimes reasonably descended from the emperor's kind of core family, survived. And some of them joined early, some of them joined late. The La'in family were one of the later joiners. Read into that what you will. And the Linton family is a descendant of the La'in family. Essentially, to some degree, and very, very, like, separated from it at the same time, Cassandra is technically some kind of in line for the throne of the Empire, as is the rest of her family. The throne of the Empire no longer exists, and she'd have to kill a lot of people to get there, you know, like, legitimately. But, essentially, nobility, could even argue minor royalty. I don't know whether Perry would know the La'in family and the descendants of such. I think
They may have heard it in, like, classes
yeah.
growing up, but may not have put a connection together at all.
Yeah, I doubt you would have. I doubt you would have made a connection. I think that's.
I don't think so. So I mean, if it was told to him, he'd recognize it, but outright, he'd probably not have paid attention enough.
Linton family would be a bit.
Linden.
Sorry, Linden family would be a bit out there. You probably know the La'in family, where they are essentially an offshoot of.
Yeah.
I would say also Cargilia is a pretty well-to-do, noble city. So that could, you know, I'd say at the very least Perry would have an idea.
Yeah, they do trade for materials and ores and that sort of thing.
Just to give you an idea, and you know. But it's been a long time since the Empire was around.
Mm-hmm. Lost where we were in the thread now of conversation.
Your footman was very nice to you. You liked chocolate cake. We
do
made
like
a pillow
chocolate cake.
together.
And and I'm very proud, and it does have a slight hole in it now, though.
We could stitch that.
Yes, let's do that. But I mean, we're a team, which is good, and you know, hopefully we care enough about each other to help me stitch pillow.
I'm gonna lean over and grab Cassandra's hand if she'll let me.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm touching people. Okay.
Well, is it something that she would consent to, or is she just like, nah?
She's not gonna like. It's just
A shock.
weird.
A surprise.
It's like,
She vomits in her
what's
mouth.
happening here? Like, it's fine, but she's like,
I would tentatively reach over and see if you were open to like me, even just like touching your hand a tiny bit.
yeah, it's fine.
I am proud of you. You've done so much and taught me so much since you've been here.
Thank you, Vulture.
You should be proud of yourself.
I would argue that we're more than just a team. I would say we're becoming our own version of a family.
Are we
Yeah,
a cult?
No,
We
I
are
don't.
not a cult. No.
Well, I guess
trying to
actually,
figure
if you
out
think
the
about
lines.
it, I just dragon riders in general, you could kind of consider that a cult.
We're not
Maybe it's not
worshipping
a-
anything specific.
Immune with it.
Does a cult have to have worshiping to be a cult?
Well, it has to have a religious connotation to it and a devotion to it. That's the definition.
Usually,
you could kind
like-
of see that. There was a lot of ritualism in getting like the dragon eggs and learning about them, and then like having a literal magical bond. That's kind of spiritual. Could be a cult.
I can actually interject a very small amount here for Cassandra and possibly Perry if he's done much research on it.
No. I'm just saying no.
So, Cassandra, in your time with Argent researching, I think Argent may have actually picked this out and pointed out to you. The design of the you remember the gates that opened up into the egg?
Yeah.
Those are inscriptions and runes, and essentially a barrier against magically inclined beings, essentially mages.
Okay.
Essentially, you cannot pass through if you have the ability to utilize magic. If you are a mage or anything along those lines. I just thought that would, seeing as you were talking about it, it's something that by now you would have come across in the books.
Yeah, but we're definitely not a cult.
Oh, okay.
Perhaps we could give the word a new meaning.
It's not necessarily a negative meaning, Ultra. Just that's again perspective on it for you, I suppose.
Yeah, we never really did anything bad. I don't think.
That's probably fine then.
Is it?
I like family better.
Yes. Well,
Me too.
I perhaps won't write that to Mother.
I don't think you need
that
to
we're in
tell
a cult.
Mother.
Yeah, maybe don't.
Oh, yeah.
Nor family, Perry. She very strict rules on that kind of thing. But yes, I Arjit and I, and obviously all of us, yes, I quite agree.
She doesn't need to know everything.
No, I cherry pick and creatively phrase things.
May I suggest something?
Of course.
How often do you write your mother?
Well, the expected monthly letters, at the very least. Ideally bi-weekly.
I say in your next letter you tell your mother you won't be writing for a while.
That's again not a funny joke, Culture.
Oh, actually, though. I mean, she doesn't write you back anyway. What would change?
Yeah.
Maybe you'd actually get a letter back.
Or my mother would send someone.
To do what?
Well, I don't know. It depends on how angry she is.
But what is she doesn't have a dragon. You're a dragon rider now.
You have more power than I think you realize, and by telling her you're not writing, it's not like you're giving her the silent treatment and not making her aware. You're just taking time for you. I know how long it takes you to write those.
But, that was the...
You have a choice now, Cassandra. Like I have a choice to figure out who I am.
I'll think on it.
It's just a suggestion. You do what you want.
Okay. And I'm sort of thinking again of like priorities and perspective and everything that culture. Ultra and Rothera were talking about in terms of like history. Sorry.
How have we not thought of this before?
I don't know. But you are now culture.
Cute
Not
new
a
nickname.
not a culture. Not a culture.
Yeah, all the history and perspective, and like, we're a new family, and it's like, well, actually, and I do have a lot of, okay. So yeah, we're gonna sort of reflect. Not convinced, but not convinced.
Yeah.
Perry goes back to eating,
Yeah, I was like, I'm
seeming
going back
like
to
kind of
eating
satisfied
my-
with the conversation.
Okay. In that case, time passes for a while. The dragons, I was gonna say frolic, but I'm not sure you can frolic in tar, so
Attempt.
splash.
Tourmaline's trying.
I imagine there is less important, let's call it, conversations between the riders, between the dragons. Probably eventually ending up at the point where both the dragons have come out of the tar pits. And as a just little aside, all it takes is a small like snort of flame on like a leg or a flank or something, and it essentially just, you know, there's that type of like very quick like movement of flame, and it essentially takes the tar off pretty easily. And it's probably getting close to the later afternoon at this point. Sun's not going down quite yet, but it's starting to get a bit cooler, and the sun's starting to like essentially hit the top of the steel spine when Iliagar returns, and as he does, a vendor kind of like head goes up and looks in that direction. If any of you follow the gaze and the look, you'll see Iliagar, and he'll walk up looking, I think probably for the first time, concerned to a certain degree. And he stops in front of you and says, "We're needed away."
Oh,
With what?
Okay.
all right. Everything okay?
With what, teacher?
There's been an incursion of drakes out near Thrubra. They seem to be pushing through the mountain path, and you're going to be needed there to help hold them off. I have to go north and help with the job up there.
Oh, okay. All right. Just handle them, push them back. Any particular?
Subtlety isn't needed right now. We are stretched thin. We just lost Jazere and Reyna, Galeriat and Duranda. Ultra,
Lost.
I believe Jazere was your teacher?
Yes.
I'm sorry to tell you then.
Lost as in?
They fell in battle.
When you say that, like, you can just see Ulcha like already having a bad day. Just her face completely falls.
Okay.
Did someone catch him?
We're not completely sure of the situation. It should have been a more simple task. That is why I must go north. They fell in the deserts to the north of Sunswept.
Can we come with you, or can I come with you?
I'm sorry, Ultra. You're needed with your pod. I should be enough to investigate at least and find out what happened. When I know, I will let you know.
Okay.
Avenda, let's go.
Be safe, teacher.
Be careful. Drakes are not a large problem unless there are many of them. They are pack animals, hunters. Don't get outnumbered and you should be fine. I'll see you when I return. And Avenda kind of stands up and he jumps on the back. Avenda looks over and says,
Look after each other.
and then there's a as he flaps up and they quickly disappear. If you would like a little more context as to who just fell, it is Josere and the sorry, he meant to say Raina for you, Ultra.
Okay, I was gonna say, but I couldn't. Raina's my teacher?
Raina was the
Okay.
Because he had the green Hydrang Yorinda.
Yeah, and he was the one who defeat the tree.
Yes, he was the defeat
Yes,
the tree.
okay.
So I would say probably only Ultra had much interaction with Raina because he's weird. He was weird as hell, as Ultra found out. The other one was Josere and the Gold Dragon Galeriat. They taught you how to fight. He was the one. Him and Galeriat had all the scars and all the signs of fighting.
And we're going to take care of the problem that they couldn't?
Iliagar's going to up that way to investigate. You're going to deal with an incursion of what is apparently drakes.
Okay.
It's if you look at the map, it's kind of northeast of Talion, which is just here. You're going up towards Thrubra, which is just below Lowhold.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I think like I'd start heading to quickly pile everything up and start heading towards the dragons. Well, that's oh they've joined us, I think, haven't they? Right. So drakes.
What do you
Any
know?
input on them?
I was about to ask, what do you know about drakes?
Sheepy, what do I know about drakes?
They tend to be around like anywhere from kind of lion to, I would say, elephant sized, but not like the same shape as an elephant, just, you know, a lot bigger than
Yeah.
that. And essentially they're pack hunters. They're again, I would say the closest you could probably get to in reality would be probably wolves, maybe lions. They have their territories and they tend to stick to them unless food is scarce or for whatever other reason they migrate or move, in which case, you know, they tend to be a bit more aggressive than wolves.
Can they fly? I can't remember.
No,
No,
they.
okay, that's fine.
Think like lizard leopards. That's kind of like a yeah.
Okay. I'll obviously let everyone know about that.
Yeah.
Um.
I would say also just based on the last time you got organized and had to go on a kind of patrol, this would essentially be considered another patrol, I would say. The things you would remember from last time is like, figure out a basic battle strategy, pick someone to lead, and figure out what it is you want to do before you get there, kind of thing.
So yes, they cannot fly. So at least we have that advantage before we get there.
So we want to try and cut them off and surround them. Wouldn't you say?
I'd agree, or as long as there's not too many of them, as Aliagar said.
The best way of hunting is to funnel it into something and have the upper hand. Be in control of the area and the situation, which will be helpful if we can do that from the sky.
Perhaps we could make something that they will bump into, or something that will hinder their path.
Like Tourmaline and Perry did with the ground, and I mean the mist as well with the giant. We could do very similar, or I'm not sure if drakes are scared of fire.
Do we think we could make them close in an area?
Suppose we'll have to
Stone
see.
with something that they can't climb.
Maybe we have to scout out the area, try to be stealthy, and then see what we're working with.
And Cindy and I can scout out the area first and report back, do a flyby.
That would be a good idea. Yeah, we could. There could be I guess almost herding them in a direction. I mean, if they're attacking the town, I don't know if we can do much more than actually just take care of them. But if we can herd them in a specific spot, we might be able to do some, I guess, dive bombing of fire and flames.
Yeah. Or water and ice.
Also possible.
Right.
Okay. Scouting would be a good idea first, though. See what we're working up against with in numbers.
And who should lead this time?
I mean, honestly, I would say Rithera. Unless you were wanting to volunteer, Ulcha.
No, I was going to say that.
Happy to.
Yes.
So I'll lead with some stealth, and then we'll see what we're working with. See the best way to utilize everybody's strengths.
You are kind of the veteran hunter. I think it would be a good idea if we're effectively hunting.
Okay. Let's saddle up and let's go.
Right.
I'd noticed Cassandra's a little bummed that she wasn't
Wow.
asked. So I would
wasn't,
lean
like,
over.
Insulted though. It's like utilize strength. I'm like, yeah, I know jack about hunting, so I'm like, I'll let it go this time.
I think Ultra would just give you like a nod, like an acknowledgement of like
Perry not even mentioning Cassandra as an option was like, wow, Perry.
Can I ask, was there a little aspect of Cassandra that was like, is this a judgment on how I led last time? Like, I don't get picked again because I did such a bad job?
No, I did a good job,
Okay.
but I think it's getting a little hurt by Perry again.
Yeah.
It's like clearly Perry doesn't have.
Has
They
such a-
never had a talk either.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Harry is probably oblivious. Because he's just looking at strengths and what would work well in the situation, like last time.
It's fine. Yes, I'll just get Argent ready and.
So, should I assume that Rithera and Incinzia would essentially take a kind of a faster recon to the area, essentially try and find out where they are and then go from there?
Yeah. Like scout out the area, stealth by, see numbers, see location, and then fall back
All right.
to.
In that case, I think the other three pair of the pod will be essentially en route as we stick with Rithera and Incinzia for a moment. And I will say, such a rare thing, but let us have, starting off the scene, I think in this instance I'll say a marshal from Rithera and a resolve from Incinzia, please. And it's essentially this is kind of a mixture of scouting, stealth, and just keeping at it until you find the thing you're looking for. So,
So my hunting tag.
hunting tag would definitely work here.
And you said Marshall from me?
Yes, please.
And I have fast and stealth as well, but
Stealth would work. Gives you a 5 success gate.
which yeah, I only got one.
I have 3 successes.
3 successes. Okay.
I'm tired. I was swimming a lot.
And Rithera had a really nice meal.
I did. No one got me any food.
You'd already eaten.
That's not the point.
So, flying over close to Thrubra, you see some activity. Even from the height you're at, you see like torch, the fire torches like going around near the entrances to the city and activity and that type of stuff. If you'd like, you could go down and actually check it out. It's not cogent to what you're doing, but I if you'd like, it's something you can do.
Does it look like the animals are there, or it's just...
Looks like there's some alerts, and they're essentially either dealing with an aftermath of an incident, or preparing for an incident, or preparing for,
I think we would want to go a little bit closer, just also to make it like making ourselves known a little bit of like to the town, knowing that like, okay, there are dragon riders coming to help with the area. So stealthing to kind of see, like not fully stealthing in that area, but more
kind of
Do a little swoop.
a little swoop
do a little
alert.
bit of a fire flyby where it's like,
Yeah.
hey, the cavalry is here, air cap,
Yeah.
ooh-ah.
Yeah. So that there's no surprise, so that they don't come out attacking us.
Yeah.
Kind of that alert.
Okay. In that case, I would say that you do like going on to a closer look. I'd say Incinzia in this instance because her vision is better in general. you see like a couple of like arrow-ridden kind of lizard dog things, like big. It appears like possibly a couple peeled off and maybe tried to get into the city. Possibly they just made a little bit of a like roar and then ran off. You know, unclear, but something along those lines probably.
Okay.
They were here.
Okay, let's keep following their trail then.
And this would put you on their trail enough to see that they are essentially, it looks like they're headed up kind of more towards Lowhold or the river. I would say off your rolls, you can't really tell exactly how many, but probably a good large pack of them, like I'm just trying to think of as to whether I would say in this instance, because Cassandra is more a hunter.
Ruthera?
Sorry, Ruthera is more a hunter.
I was like,
yeah, sorry. I
definitely am not.
I was looking at the wrong name. In this instance, the predominant for knowing how many there would be off Ruthera's roll. I would say that, yeah, probably somewhere to the tune of 30 to 50. There's like a quite large area that's like, you know, run over or trampled or like all dusty and stuff. So. And you've got a bead on where they're going, so if you want, you can either follow them to see like how right you are or see what's happening where they are, or you can head back to...
Well, we want to be able to scout the area specifically to be able to see what our strengths are and what we could do and how we could cut them off.
Okay.
So I would imagine circling around, like going around and almost trying to cut them off, but finding where they're going, like where they potentially could go.
Okay. Yeah, and in this instance, I won't need a roll because, you know, Incensia's tags are quite literally fast. You managed to catch up with and kind of like circumvent their path, and it is a little bit savanna in the area, like grassland, a few small town village type places that seem to either be evacuated or in the process of being evacuated. And there are, to the east of Fairways, some hills and like higher vantage point. For the most part, you essentially have a fairly, it's not even a valley, you have a huge stretch of land that's pretty flat, and that's in between some of the hills to the east, and then of course the steel spine to the west, with
Okay.
Lowhold up north. I'd say probably like half a day until they would get to Lowhold, and it doesn't even seem to be exactly where they're headed. They seem to be going more towards the river.
Okay. And so we would fall back
Okay.
after gathering that information.
Again, it doesn't take us a complete load of time. I would say you probably meet the rest of the pod above Thrubra. You rejoin them around there.
Yeah, there's no point flying to them when they know to fly here.
Yeah. And we also want to save some of your strength and speed and so we've got a pack of about 30 to 50, maybe 60. not desert, but pretty barren. A couple little villages, but nothing really around. A wide space.
Right. So, what do you suggest then?
Well, it gives us a lot of space for being able to get rid of them, but it also means that if we, without having a place to divert them, they can spread out. And then we're dealing with multiple small packs. So we do want to find a way to funnel them, keep them close together.
What
surround
was
them.
the terrain like?
Quite flat. A couple trees, grassy. Not much water, not much really anything. For at least half a day.
Tourmaline, where all the dragons are here, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Tourmaline's gonna perk her head up.
You can make mist, correct?
Yes.
Perry,
Yeah.
could we make a wall from the mist?
Is your mist like vapor, Incensia? Or is it more a hallucinogenic kind? Because if it's more like a vapor, I think you're right, Tourmaline. We might be able to make some sort of wall.
We could just try right now.
I just kind of look at Ruthara like, I have no idea what they're talking about. Like, we've never tried that.
Yes, let's use our brains.
We could make a mini wall.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just a small amount of mist. Let's see what we can do.
And I'm gonna do that,
Okay.
I suppose.
Essentially, give it a little test run.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Roll me a power, please, and a control, please, for Rithera.
Ooh.
Nice. Do you have any attacks for lowering the success gate here?
I don't.
I have Incensia insight, but I think that's more of her personality
Yeah.
and her choices.
Yeah.
So
Can help in instances. Not quite this one.
Yeah.
But still, 2 successes each is pretty good.
Even a little wall, like.
Yeah. Essentially, you lay out how thick are you wanting this mist to be? Is it because essentially
I think, like, if I'm going to be covering a large space, I'm going to try and say, I know it's going to be quite thin, so I'd like it to be thinner, so we can sort of.
well, and the kind of thicker mist is very useful for misdirecting people, like messing up their sense of direction. If you want them to see something in the mist, it needs to be a little bit lighter so that they can see things.
And it doesn't need to be, like, actually effective, because we're just wanting to have
I'm just wanting to see if Tourmaline can turn it into a solid ball.
Okay. So you're not you. Oh, sorry, I misunderstood.
Yeah.
See what we're doing?
We're just testing to see if like we
Or
can.
test-
If it's
I wanted to
real
maybe,
vapor
like, make
or
a
if
sound or something.
yeah,
like
if it's real
birds.
vapor or
So Tourmaline, you're wanting to, with Perry, to solidify the mist.
Yeah, to make it like something that would be difficult to get through.
Yeah.
Like a wall.
In that case, yes. Please roll me your power, and Perry your control, please, with applicable tags, adjusting the difficulty.
I have magically gifted.
That will lower the difficulty.
Okay.
And precision control might work here.
It's over a large, like you're essentially turning a block of mist.
Yeah,
into
that
a
would be
block
less
of-
precise. Yeah, that's fair.
Less precise in this instance. Oof.
2.
That Silly,
3.
silly, powerful tourmaline.
I know, right?
Obviously, Cassandra could get involved with Argent if it looks a little untoward.
Well, in fact, Perry and Tourmaline managed to essentially shift it into what is, for the most part, appears to be a kind of water ice, like it shifts into an ice kind of wall quite effectively. The problem I will say is that in Cinzia, you're not bottomless when it comes to the mist. The amount you can produce is reasonably limited. So depending on what you want to do with it, like you could put a wall up in front via this technique. But without some other factor, it's going to severely limit. If you want to put a wall in front, you're going to be able to put a bit of a wall in front, not a like
Surrounding wall,
Not a
yeah,
surrounding.
not even like a horseshoe or anything.
yeah.
Will this be enough?
We
No.
could.
No.
Well, we could put the wall in front.
What? Well, I wonder, Cass, would you and Argent be able to... Because you see, we could make... You said they were going towards the desert, Rithera?
Mm-hmm.
Another
Savannah, like,
Another form of sand is glass. Cass, could you and Argent make or change what Tourmaline can do a bit to make spikes out of the glass? Why stop them with the wall when you could stop them from running entirely?
Yes, I imagine that would work if all goes to plan.
Harry, could we not make glass?
That's what I mean. I think we could.
Yes, and then Argent and I spike it, and
Exactly,
That's
because you
it.
can just
Oh,
change the form, but they could enhance it.
okay. That
And I
is a
think you
much
could-
better idea.
I think you could visualize it pretty well, Cass.
then Incensia could make it seem like there's nothing there, so they run right into
And they wouldn't stop. That's really good, too.
and then have Ardor behind with as a push forward.
Ooh, kind of like hurting it almost, hurting them
Yeah.
into the spikes.
like the cliff face we discussed,
Yeah.
all comes around. Right, yes. Let's
I have another
Sorry, Rebecca.
idea.
Yes.
What if we make I cannot think of the word. A ditch in the ground that they fall into.
Oh, just a pitfall,
Yes.
and could put the same kind of spikes there, or I mean, could they crawl out though if we don't kill them?
Are we supposed to kill them?
I think it was a higher priority to just deal with them and their rampage.
and if they
Which-
fall in the pit, and there's spikes in the pit,
It'd have to be a pretty big pit though. You said there was 60 of them?
I would say 60 at max, 30 to 50, but I would say always estimate for a little bit
Yeah.
more.
I don't know if Tourmaline and I could make a pit big enough for that. I'm
and
thinking
glass.
back. Yeah, and glass on top of that.
Should we try to make a small pit here?
I know we can make a small one. I just don't know if we'll make a big enough one for 60.
Well,
It's a good
If we-
idea, but I don't know if we could
accomplish it quickly and effectively.
It could be at
Perhaps.
least. Oh, Tourmaline,
No,
go ahead.
perhaps it could be a backup plan.
Yes, I think that's a good idea regardless.
Perhaps we could point the glass spikes at them like cavalry.
Oh, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, like
Oh.
like the spiky hedgehogs. Sorry, I didn't explain that. That's exactly what I was thinking.
I thought you meant like directly straight up, and then they would run across them, and
No, oh no. Yeah, having them exact like pushed in
yes.
with ardor.
Like a spear wall.
Yeah.
Or we start with the pit and do that with the rest.
Just make a pit in general, try to disable some of them, and then have the rest of them run into a spike wall.
There's quite a lot to do, Tourmaline.
Yes.
Are you
Yeah. You know,
I
comfortable
am
with it?
ready to try.
maybe spikes first, and when they move around, then a pit after.
Yeah,
That might be
I think that's. Do that.
less taxing on you, Tourmaline. And me.
I think if we do it quickly but slowly, we can get it done.
Cass, do we think that you and Argent can help with that?
I mean, for sure with the spikes, yes. And then depending on what we want to do with the pit, don't think it will need that much organizing to make a pit. But unless the spikes, of course. Yes, we'll be fine. We will.
Okay,
I do believe we can accomplish that, yes.
wonderful. Thank you for your help, everyone.
Well, say the word, leader.
Let's head in.
Mount up and get ready to
Mount
Yeah.
up.
fly
Let's go.
Yeah, there's like a Rethera, and Cynthia, so I'm going to be focused on Cynthia. Yeah. So we're
So
gonna do.
illusion first and give them a chance to be able to
think
build what they
They'll
need.
need to put the spikes so we can then cover them because they won't be able to see.
Oh, they won't be able to see. Okay.
So, as I understand the plan, Tourmaline and Perry will, along with Cassandra and Argent, create essentially like sturdy glass spikes pointing in a like long line, essentially like to receive a cavalry charge.
Yeah, the hedgehogs that you'll set up.
And if that has been accomplished to a satisfactory degree, Incinzia and Rethera will coat the area with mist to essentially mirage the spikes so that they won't be like, oh, spikes, shouldn't walk into those,
Yeah.
or charge headfirst into those. And then with Ardor and Ultra, basically herding them from behind, kind of like yip 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 yip.
Exactly.
Yes.
Sounds exactly like that too.
Imagine like after we've set everything out as well, we'd
Yeah.
be able to swing around and kind of get the sides like a real cow drive.
Okay. In that case, let us move forward a little bit to the setup, and then we'll go visit Ardor and Ultra afterwards. So, it's starting to get a little darker. Still light. The sun's still up. In this instance, I will need Tourmaline and Perry to roll your power and your control respectively. There will be a success gate of 5 for Tourmaline because of your tag of magically gifted. Not for Perry unless there's one that you can make.
I was gonna say this feels more precise if we're trying to get specific spikes out of it.
You're not getting the spikes.
Right. Nope, you're absolutely right.
Argent are.
And they don't have that. You right.
You are doing a mass conversion as per
Yeah,
usual.
yeah. Perfect.
Every time, Dad.
Every time, like, I wanted to be precise. No. Okay. All right. Well, there's my. Oh God. All right.
Okay.
2.
Oh,
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm rolling power.
Yes.
3.
3. Okay.
A little closer that time to each other.
To add to that, Cassandra and Argent, you are essentially molding and hardening the power to turn it into essentially a long line of like glistening glass spears. So, could I please get a power roll from Argent and a control roll from Cassandra? And this will be any tags that apply will, let me know.
None
For you?
for me.
Okay. Oof.
You have enhancement.
That is specifically for humans.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
got?
wow.
We got the same rolls.
Well,
5, 6, 7, 9, 10.
well done, us.
How aligned
We are in sync. That's actually really impressive.
That is really
Oh,
impressive.
Yeah. That is
You
weird.
also both got 10s.
Yes.
So, feel free, both of you, to describe what this looks like. And considering that there is a essentially what I would consider a crit in there, both of you getting a 10, feel free to embellish a little bit if you like, or add an additional small change. For example, if you wanted to shift the matter into something like diamond or obsidian or something even harder than the glass.
Hmm.
Good, because it wouldn't shatter.
Yeah.
Or if you wanted to impose on it a regeneration aspect for a while, it could shatter and regrow. Like essentially the power would sustain there. A lot of extra things you could add into this, basically.
How
So
you
I guess,
feeling, Argent?
the feeling that you would get, because I think that, like, we're probably not specifically talking during this process.
Yeah.
Argent's thinking a couple of things and wanting to get your lead on it. Either, something like diamond or like increase its hardness, or make them completely translucent so we don't need an illusion. Those are the feelings you'd get from Argent, but if you lead or have a different idea and would rather go that way, Argent will absolutely go with it.
I think selfishly, she'd like to not need Ruthera and Incinzia. But the Drakes are heading northeast. And we need to deal with them, and there's something else happening in the northeast. We're just talking about home. So, like, well, the hardness aspect, I think, is...
Makes sense.
So then, ratchets up the hardness of this glass to another material, something maybe akin to diamond, or, reinforced like plexiglass,
Oh.
something like that.
Yeah, definitely. It's essentially very dense diamond glass, like the type of thing that would be needed to break it would be like a big dragon or a giant or something to essentially like intentionally smash it down.
Something tiny Drake's tiny comparatively. Probably can't do easily.
And as you are all there, the sand starts to like essentially almost liquidate in this like long line all along. I'm assuming you're not wanting it to be like particularly thick, just like a long line, right?
Yeah, because the first one that gets hit and hurt animals they'll split.
Yeah.
But if they split into more spikes, then
so essentially it kind of liquidates as you see Perry and Tourmaline there like channeling the power and creating it. And then Perry, you feel it's something you've gotten a bit more used to now since you've been training together and everything, but you feel the addition of, it's not exactly manipulative because it doesn't have that intention. It's essentially enhancing to a certain degree, but you feel the power that you have gathered and coalesced and started to control being added to, being molded, being moved to a slightly different purpose as these kind of liquid sand like boils up and moves out and starts to crack and sizzle as it solidifies into these not particularly massive but like bristling hedge of pointed kind of sparkly spears. And one additional thing that wasn't intended but I will give to you is that as they form and as they take shape and harden, you notice that there are beams of light shooting out in kind of god rays across the plane towards where the drakes will come from, as the light is caught by the diamond, by the glass essentially. And so it's not going to have a massive effect, but it may have a blinding effect on anything charging into it.
So I was taking it as a bad thing, but I'm like, good.
Oh, good. They see them now.
Ooh.
Perfect.
I know,
It
it's
now
like,
is
oh, they're
ruined.
gonna see all the light and move away from it.
The drakes aren't particularly sentient, so conscious thought like that is...
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna give Argent a little sort of pat, like, good job. Kind of, you did so well then. So good.
And
It definitely
Helped
seems
the
pleased.
team.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that Incenzia and Rethera would like to coat the...
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
We keep relying on my power. And I'm not-
I know. We're like, we might need to do some more training, but we've got it. We've got a lot of
Got a
enthusiasm.
lot of heart, just not
Heart.
that much power or control.
Correct.
Okay, so 3
Okay.
for me.
Yes, please.
It's 3. Oh boy.
Do we have
I got a 10.
rerolls in this?
We're doing great.
Well, you matched.
It
Success each.
It's
Yep.
light. It's light. If you like the amount of hurrying you've done, the amount of scouting and everything, I'm not going to tell you what you think, but I'll tell you what is true. Both of you are a little bit worn out and have taken a little bit too much on. Essentially, your concentration is shot Rethera, and your stamina is shot Incenzia.
Imagine I'm like listing a little at times.
Yeah. And, you know, that'll be obvious to everyone. Just saying, I don't know how either of you will react or feel about that, but I have a little idea. It is debatable as to whether it's enough.
Okay.
So, I guess we'll see. In which case, shall we switch over to Ardor and Ultra as we join them, essentially glide. Here's my first question: are you gliding behind them? Are you like stomping, chasing them on the ground? How are you going to approach this kind of herding?
I would think that Ardor would be like that idea of you want to make yourself as big as possible. So wings are going all the way out, heads are all the way stretched up. Like, I am a threat. Maybe little bursts of fire, like that. I am something to be scared of, and you want to run away from me.
Okay. Ultra?
Mm-hmm.
You down with the...
Oh, yeah, I just imagine if it's okay with Ardor that when you're not blowing out fire, you're like snipping and biting at the air, like to intimidate them. But yeah, just I feel like we're flying low enough that it's intimidating them to be like, we need to move and head in this certain direction.
Yeah.
All right. In that case, before we get into what exactly is going down, could I get a control from Ultra and a marshal from Ardor, please? And any tags you think may be cogent to the situation.
Would Dragon Rider play a role?
Yes, it would.
Okay.
I have...
What about? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say I have like sturdy / like our multi-head count be like really outnumbered. Like I can always see in all directions. Would either of those?
It would count if they were coming at you. That won't happen until I see how you guys roll yet. So
okay.
I will say for now, no.
Okay.
I have hunting as well. Is that
hunting? I would say would count. Yes. So
okay. So I have Dragon Rider and hunting.
4 success gate for
Ooh.
2,
which is good.
And I have 3 successes.
3 successes. Okay. In that case, Ardor and Ultra, you are flying just above the ground, kind of like listing left and right, but trying to stay big. There's kind of gouts of flame occasionally bursting, kind of clipping at the heels of these drakes. And would you have wanted to spread them out or keep them concentrated?
How wide are the spikes?
The spikes are pretty wide.
I feel like we would try to keep them as close together as possible, like so that it's not like, oh, there's some stragglers over here. Like they can spread out a bit, but definitely not to be like, oh, they're like
not
scattering.
Going in different directions. Okay.
Yeah.
I will say that the control you have is essentially very tenuous on how these drakes are moving. However, they do seem to be moving with a decent amount of purpose and quite quickly. And none of them try to split off at the very least. So they do spread out a little bit. And I will say also, as you're going, let's have a little look here. So yeah. Yeah, they just essentially I would say one kind of spins round and kind of tries to take this, like it kind of like bounds and then takes this like flying leap, you can... I would say for both Ardor and Ultra, I don't think you have much of an idea as to the usual traits and demeanor of drakes. What I can say is it seems very feral, I think is the best word. Very, very kind of berserk to a degree. And it jumps straight at you. So could I please get a control from Ultra and a marshal from Ardor, please?
Do the same tags apply?
Yes, they would.
2.
2. And nice.
Yeah.
This instance.
You got a 10.
So, essentially, as this Drake like jumps at you, tell me how and exactly how you deal with it, because it's not going to do much.
I'm gonna leave that up to Ardor because I'm just sitting on the back. I think Ardor's the one who kind of takes the reign on this.
If it's coming right at me, the 2 other heads are gonna stay out and big, but with the front head, it's gonna come down, burst a little bit of fire, and probably gnash at it and take a chunk, and literally just like, oh, I get a snack on the run. This is great.
Yeah, I mean, you're big enough that you could either just, you know, probably not glomp it whole, but take enough that
take
it's
a
just
good
like
chunk.
it's
it's non-existent, and
Can I ask, if you're taking a chunk, do you want to manifest any of the properties of it?
what properties does it have specifically that we think could be useful?
Sheepy?
So, there are the essentially land speed capabilities. What you could essentially do is adjust your limbs and your body such that you wouldn't be quite as hefty, but you'd be more streamlined. You'd be able to essentially sprint almost as fast as you can fly. Additional to that, they have an extremely heightened sense of smell. So if you were in need of essentially to give you an idea, if you had their sense of smell, you would have been able to track them here from Frubra. Aside from that, they're not particularly heavily armored. You know, if there was a whole load of you, you could essentially manifest the ability to act as a pack. I would say if you had a purple dragon of some kind with you, that may be able to manifest in some way. But in this instance, not really.
I just assume that you and I probably have like at least this basic knowledge of what they are.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Ultra's just gonna call out. What do you think? Do you want to eat the whole thing?
How fast do you want to be?
Oh. Can we both be fast?
Sheepy, can I give the speed that I take in to Ultra?
You could essentially like alter for a certain amount of time, alter the makeup of Ultra's form to be kind of panther-like. She wouldn't turn into a panther. She would essentially be able to run as fast as one, like on all fours, and it would be useful in a situation where she wasn't on Dragonback.
That's some horror movie stuff.
Yeah.
running on all fours. That's just so unnerving seeing a person do that.
You could also manifest the plates of the Hydra. It would essentially cause like scales, almost, but quite hard scales.
Because I don't think Ardor would want to give up the big body. Like, I don't think for the speed in Ardor's brain, I'm like, our job is hurting, so I need to be as big as possible.
Big and threatening, yeah.
Yeah, so it would be about what I could give to you.
Yeah, I wonder if the scales would be better just because it's more protection.
Oh,
yeah.
I have one for you. It would adjust Ultra's eyes slightly to be much more lizard-like, but they can see in the dark.
What time of day is it right now?
The sun's starting to go down.
I think I'll probably just be like, oh, what about their vision?
Done. And I'll gnash down to take more of the, eat all of the animal.
Mm. In that case, could I please get a power roll and a control roll from Ultra?
Okay.
And I have
eyes
Bestow
explode.
Rider. I have Bestow Rider.
Yes. So that will give you a bonus.
And you said power?
Power, yes.
I'm assuming I have no tags that help with this one. Dragon Rider. Animal traits. I have that tag.
That was a squishy sound.
Yes. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
I didn't hear that when I previewed.
I've heard it a few times and I'm like, every time.
Yuck.
I have 3 successes and a crit.
Nice. And Ultra got a success. So what I would say is, as Ardor manifests the power, you can feel the amount of power needed would be enough to adjust in an extreme way. Your ability to take a hold of that power and to essentially adjust it and adjust something from it is limited. So essentially, there's a lot of power that Ardor's like, here, have. It's essentially like you're holding out a cup, and an entire pool falls on you, kind of thing. And you're like, yeah, I filled the cup, thank you, but also this was a little excessive. With that small amount of power, it is indeed enough to essentially to adjust your eyes to. They don't feel like they fit in your eye sockets quite right. It's not too bad, but don't sneeze for a while.
Like I feel my eyeballs.
Oh yeah, your eyeballs adjust and.
Don't sneeze because they'll pop out? Is that what I gathered there?
I said nothing.
That's what you implied.
But essentially, your eyes are now similar to cat eyes to a certain degree, and they have like a very fiery red like ring to them, like your regular eyes do now. Also, additionally, you don't have eyelids anymore. Well, I mean, you do. You have the lizard eyelids,
like the little membrane that kind of goes over them.
The windscreen wipers.
Okay. I'm gonna call to Ardor. Oh my! It worked. I feel my eyeballs. Should I be feeling my eyeballs?
I mean, don't you feel your eyeballs anyways?
No, not like this.
Well, but then it worked.
It worked, and then I feel like my eyes would start to adjust. What do I see differently?
So you don't see the night shifting down the same way. It's a little more grayscaled. The colors aren't as vibrant, but they're a lot clearer, and your eyesight can actually see a lot further. So everything's very clear to you, and kind of easier to focus on details in the distance. Also, the sound effect in this song with the weird squishy sound that's what you hear every time you blink.
Okay. I
Yeah, me too.
in a weird way, it's kind of like Ultra can't help but think about owls in the
Yeah.
sense that they can see at night, and it's like, whoa. Like it's just kind of like a lizard eye, but very much eye-opening into what owls are like too. So she's just like kind of excited and vibrating with that excitement and pats Ardor on the back. You did it. This is the first time we've kind of done this, right?
I think so. Last time I was slimy, and then, we haven't really done too much since then. This is awesome.
You did amazing. I can see so far, and I think this will help now that the sun's going down.
So do you see the spikes as the thing?
I'm gonna like whip my head up and try to do like enhance with my eyes to see if I can see the spikes in the distance.
Yes, they are quite rapidly coming up. You can also make out like a couple of hovering figures and things like that. And honestly, the size of Ardor pushing them and essentially everything else involved has meant that they have headed on a straight course for the spikes. And what I will essentially say is the very smart and interesting use of your powers leads to a scenario where the drakes just crash against the spikes and impale themselves, and what I will say is, in the instance of drakes, there are some that survive the initial crash and kind of like spread out and try and move around and stuff. However, drakes are not a threat to you even slightly unless there's a good like 10 of them. So what I will say is, if any of you would like to describe a scene of kicking a drake ass, feel free. But the threat here, it ended with that first initial crash, and essentially you dealt with that problem. So I imagine there's like a scene of Argent like snaking out and like wrapping around one of them and just holding it there as it kind of like struggles, and Cynthia's probably zipping from one to the other, just kind of like crunching down and like shaking them like a ragdoll, and they just like fling away. I imagine even Torbleed like leads her head down and just like blast flame into one of them until they're just a pile of ash.
I guess that Tourmaline's just like, oh, okay.
Oh,
I'll
there's a couple left. Cool.
Oh,
Was anyone hungry?
Do they taste good?
They're a great snack.
I prefer hogs.
I don't care at this point.
Just chowing down if there's not a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want a nap.
What does it taste like in Cynthia?
Chewy.
But chewy, a little bit leaner than a hog.
Does it get stuck in your teeth?
Not really. A little bit.
Seems scaly.
Not the worst thing I've eaten.
Are there more to take care of?
And Argent's looking around.
And this appears to be the extent of them. As you look around, the last few have been dealt with by essentially rampaging dragons who've just been like, hey, fun, yay! And I would say probably a little bit as you are as the dragons are, going from one to one, you see, you know what? This would be, Ultra, you see, in the distance, a speck that gets larger, coming from the south, from where you came from. As a familiar yellow dragon, Longron and his rider, along with, what color is, so I can't remember what color, Illyrium's sky blue, along with a sky blue dragon and Illyria approach and essentially land, with Illyria kind of jumping off very quickly and moving forward. Sorry, we're late. We were asked to give you some help if needed, of course.
We did it. It's already done.
Yes.
How is everything elsewhere?
All of the majority of the pods have been mobilized and put out on patrol. It's very confused. We're not really sure what's happening. Where is Iligar?
He flew north of Lowhold. There was some riders fell and he went to investigate.
Have you not heard anything?
No, not yet. Master Agatia also headed north to help. He has not reported in since.
When was that?
This afternoon, 4 or 5 hours ago.
Should we look into that now? And we've taken care of this?
I'm wondering if they need backup.
That might be a good idea.
And Jarix leans forward and says, "We are able to do more if you are. Of course, we can only act in a support capacity without all of our pod.
True.
So it will come down to your choice."
I'll look at everyone like,
I think us 6 pairs would be a good idea if our masters are having issues.
I think there's strength in numbers.
I agree. After the snack is done.
yes, I think we've got more in us to help Master Eliagar, and yes.
Do you know the way? Looks at Ilaria. We only know the rough direction where Master Eliagar went, but if you actually know where they were patrolling originally, that could help.
We have a general direction, but they weren't very clear about where they were going, or why, or to do what. I don't.
Okay.
Something they have a tendency not to talk about their patrols.
Yeah, we noticed. Okay, well, we both have rough directions. I think we might be able to see if they're kind of the same, and if so, that does help.
So eager, as you hear from the side, a little bit of ways from where you were, where you are, a new voice.
We all just kind of whip around to look at it.
Yeah.
I suppose, like,
Yeah.
how is someone appeared that
Like,
we've
Look
not,
in the direction.
like, that we've not seen come up to us in this flat plains with drakes and stuff?
There is standing there a man, or pretty tall, probably like 6'2", 6'3", completely bald, kind of almost skeletal head. You know, the structure is very like taut, tight skin on his head, and he is essentially dressed in very plain, fairly grey, like over robes.
And who are you?
Greetings. I don't believe we've been introduced. I don't believe we've ever met. However, one second. There we go, yeah. I am the Scar.
Harry is now thinking of the girl that wouldn't happen to be bringing about any sort of desolation, would you? Just off the thought there.
No, I don't bring about desolation.
What do you bring about?
I have been traveling around, searching for something. And these little friends of mine were intended to gather some of the masters here so I could kill them as well. Unfortunately, I find myself with some pups.
How is Jerix and Ilaria?
Ilaria.
Illyria.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. How are they reacting to this person as well?
Essentially, like, confused, on guard, and Jerix is like, "Who the hell are you?" And the person who referred to himself as the Scar smiles and holds out his arms and says, "I am the Scar. I am agony."
Did you give yourself that nickname?
I think it would be safe to say that the nickname was thrust upon me, not through my own choosing, as is often the case.
And what do you have to do with us?
Well, you are not much of a threat, so not too much, but I guess I could take you to see Desolation. And he raises his hand and says, "This place." And the world blinks, and you are standing on a barren, rocky, obsidian wasteland with like bubbling cracks in it where there's lava and you know, there's like big kind of like, there's a big range of mountains kind of curled all around you, just big spiky black peaks and all of those type of things.
Would I have a guess of where this is?
Okay.
I
I would say Cassandra would probably know.
Yeah. Because it's quite near my home, really.
Well, it's, yeah.
Well, like, you'll be able to see it from...
Yeah. Well, Not sure you'd see it from the coast or anything, but
Okay.
you know it's out there. It's people don't go here like ever.
Cool.
This is Niane's Fall. It is an island off, quite a fair ways off, and is forbidden to dragon riders and to pretty much everyone. I will say also there's a little bit of disorientation as you have essentially been shifted through space, or like, yeah.
Mage?
Mage. Yes.
I should say that out loud.
No.
Not just a mage. Allow me to introduce you to Desolation. And he turns very slightly and points behind him.
What's behind him?
The mountain.
Just the mountain. Okay.
Just the mountain.
Just the mountain. Fine.
How close am I to Perry?
Yeah, you're all kind of bunched up together. You were having a conversation, so.
Do we think that Tourmaline gets the same sense as what we had from the village?
Oh, you would have got a hell of a boof of, like, magical discharge.
But like, is it the same? I don't know if we
corruption,
can see.
yeah.
Magical like signature almost.
I don't know, but I would guess that seems to line up.
I would say similar, very similar.
Could I hear them
Yes.
as Tourmaline? I would just, without saying anything, sense the area. Is it the same corruption?
The area in general, no. It's more the when he said this place, there was a sharp and powerful tang of that same corruption, of that same kind of taint.
Tourmaline's gonna lean down close to Perry and Rithera.
He is similar. The magic he uses, it is corrupted.
I'm just gonna nod. You probably won't get any other.
Yeah. And as you start to, like, talk and discuss between you all, he says, "What's wrong, children? Are you not going to say hello?"
You teleport us away from everything. You introduce us to a mountain. Apologies, we're a little confused and trying to figure things out.
Oh, of course. And then he turns around and says, "Desolation, say hello." As, the mountain, his eyes open. And very slowly starts to stand up. As possibly the largest dragon you've ever seen, which is also obsidian black colored, starts to knock off trees and as it stands. Yeah, yeah. And you hear
Yep. Hello.
and we will end there for today.
Cool.
Gonna be totally fine.
Perfect.
Everything's fine.
I mean, it's definitely cool.
We're
cool.
definitely not dead.
Definitely not gonna die to a mountain.
Nope.
A black dragon.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Have you followed it all of the way?
Mm-hmm.
I think I got some ideas, yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
He's a mage.
Yeah, he's a mage with a dragon, which is not normal.
And
Yeah,
how
and there's a mythology thing also.
how do mages cast spells?
It's with life energy, and if you got a big old giant dragon that gives you extra life energy, you kind of have an infinite well.
Yep.
And he said kill more masters, didn't he? So it's
Yeah.
like,
Yes.
Yeah.
oh no.
So
Well, thanks
anyway,
everybody for watching. Wasn't that a great
Less
finale?
food.
Whoa. It'll be a TKO in the first like 5 minutes. So
Yeah, we pop in. It's like, and we're done. All
We're all
right.
knackered
Alright.
as well.
We're
We've
dead.
been we've been flying all over the place.
yeah. So anyway, let's do outros and maybe feel free to have a little talk about whatever you would like. This was essentially a beach episode. Nothing happened, so everything's fine.
Oh, yeah,
Nothing happened.
nothing. We just blew bubbles in tar.
So let us start off with the Drake Gobbler, also known as Ardor. No, not Rithera, but Rithera counts too because it's Elbow.
Hi everyone. My name is Elbel. You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, all of those fun things. I stream live on Twitch. We play a lot of retro first playthroughs. I've currently been addicted to FTL.
Ooh.
And yeah, I can't stop. So that's it. I'm excited and wow. For a relaxing beach episode, I don't feel very relaxed anymore.
Really?
No.
Weird.
Surprise. Okay. So hot potato onto we'll go to Katie.
Katie.
Caught it. That's such a weird concept of hot potato that people are throwing around a hot potato to each other.
Well,
I don't like to think about things too
it's-
hard sometimes.
It's because it's so hot you can't hold on to it, so you have to throw it to the next
Well,
person.
I know the concept, but who was like, this is a fun idea. Let's do this for an activity.
I mean, people in the medieval ages had very little to do.
Stressful.
They're like-
Okay.
Hey, Cherry, you want to come over and play hot potato tonight?
Is that like no?
Wait, does it mean
sorry.
something different?
I don't think so, but
In
it
that
might
way,
now.
you said it was.
Hot potato could.
Hey, sure, you want to come over and play?
It could be a double entendre. It's really up to whoever, It's up to
Yeah,
you.
it's the context when Jerry arrives.
Mhm. Whichever. Okay, I'm done. I'm gonna stop talking about
Yeah.
it. Hi, I'm Katie Peters Plays. I played Ultra and Tourmaline for you today. You can catch me on Twitch at Katie Peters Plays, on Twitter at Katie. Nope, it's not. Well, I am Katie Peters Plays, but the handle is Play Katie Play. Man, I was so smooth until that point. And
Almost had it.
I have a podcast called Quantum Drive, which I'm very proud of, and we're in the thick of it right now. And we've been doing some cool interviews. So if you want to go listen to that podcast, please do so because it's exciting. And then, yeah, I'm excited to punch a mountain. And I'm gonna hot potato it to Tash.
Hi, I'm Tash, and I've played Cassandra and Cynthia for you today. Who, obviously, Cassandra's had some little familial crisis, which was nice, but not resolve things with Perry, which we'll figure out. With passive aggressive tendencies.
Just add it to the bucket list before you die.
Yeah, it's fine. I stream Subnautica Hardcore mode. I play Final Fantasy 14, and at some point I will find some time to paint some minis because I also just got a full-time job and I'm running events, so it's very busy. It'll cool down and I will have a nap for like 3 days. It's gonna be beautiful. But that's me. I'm just very busy. Couldn't find me as Tashna because I'm good at branding, unlike Sheepy. And I'm gonna pass over to Dan.
Wow.
And following up that shade, hi, I'm Domestic Dan. Good old Perry being way too oblivious. But yes, I'm a lifestyle variety broadcaster, and I do all sorts of things like not sleeping and just surviving off of coffee this whole cast, which thankfully is doable. So, yeah, right. I survived.
I'm so tired.
Yeah. But yeah, I will be after this and after I eat, playing something far more chill, where I'm going to be a little bear and have a bear and breakfast.
Ooh,
Which cute. I know. It's like, this game looks adorable. I want to run a B&B as a bear, so that's what I'm gonna do.
I saw that game.
I started playing it last night. It's so cute.
I'm good.
I've never heard of it. What is it?
Bear and breakfast. You run a
It's literally called Bear and
Breakfast. Yeah. You run a bed and
adorable.
breakfast as a bear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's basically a Twitter post. You run a bed and breakfast, but you're a bear.
Yeah. So that's what I'll be doing after I get food. But thanks so much for watching, y'all. And I'm excited to see how we're going to resolve potentially punching a mountain. Yeah. So you getting punched by a mountain is
We
probably
just
more
get to be a
accurate.
snack, don't we?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
You met agony and desolation.
Yay! Let's meet,
Was it
and
the
I will hot
product of
potato it to.
Wait, no, I
Wait,
need it. I
to
need the
Sheepy.
hot potato.
I've already
And it's
gone.
I'm gonna do it anyway. No,
Damn it.
I need more caffeine. Clearly.
And then I pass it on to Sheepy.
Oh, thank you. Hello, I'm Sheepdog, and I run the Wandering Inn. And we have Mage coming up next Monday, the premiere episode, which is going to be very interesting. We also have the finale of Dragon Riders. This episode is going to be not next Friday, but the Friday afterwards. So I had to get in a little cliffhanger to torture everyone, where it's like, okay, what's going to happen next? Tune in! Not next week, but the week after. I believe we said it was the 5th?
No, it's the 12th.
It's
Because
the
next
12th.
week is the 5th.
Next week is the 5th, it's the 12th. So tune in 2 weeks for the finale. And we might have more to say at the end of everything. Who knows? On top of that, I would say thank you for watching, and if you do want to support the show, go check out the Patreon. Essentially, your support funnels directly into the cast and the cast pay, and also if there's any left over, which currently there isn't, it will go into art and things like this overlay, which is just so beautiful, and I already forgot to keep on top of like twice today, so that's good. However, all of this wonderful cast, well, some of this wonderful cast needs to go to sleep. Some of them need to go and wake up. We're all at opposite ends of the bar here. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. We're gonna go off, and we will see you in 2 weeks for the finale of Dragon Riders.